channel. My name is Susan. For those of you who don't know me, I'm excited today. We're still talking about faith. This is Rooted Word. Karibu sana, karibu sana. Thank you for coming. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Let's get into the episode for today, which is faith. Now, I am giving an example about faith. I was schooling here at a time. I was at USIU, which is in Kasarani. And then I opted to go, when I was in USIU in Kasarani, at that time, USIU had USIU Kenya, USIU UK, Mexico, and the US, because it is an American institute, an American university, so it had branches. So I, at the time, was living in sin, basically. Well, yeah, I was a young student. I had a boyfriend, and this boyfriend and I were, he was a nice guy. He's a nice guy. There's nothing wrong with him. But at the time, we were not doing the right things, all right? So one of those things was we were having sex, obviously, for me to have a child. So, and I wasn't married, obviously, I was a student. So what had happened was I had transferred to the US, and I transferred to the US, and I was now in that college in the US in San Diego. And I found out I was pregnant when I was maybe 3-4 months pregnant. I didn't have any morning sickness. I didn't have anything. Actually, what I had was a tummy ache. I just kept on feeling like, my tummy, bloated or whatever, just my tummy. And I'd gone to the sanatorium, I'd gone to be checked, all the things. And even they were like, what's going on? And so at this point in time, one of the ladies said, you know what, let's just send you down to the hospital in Scripps Ranch. I can't remember what it was called. It's a big hospital. And let's just get you really, checked up now properly, because we can't seem to figure out what's going on. So I went to the hospital, and this is when they were like, oh, Susan, like, seriously, even the doctor's like, seriously, when was your last period? And I was like, I don't know. Because at that time, it wasn't also regular. It was neither here nor there. Hadn't made up its mind. So he was like, well, you are, I guess, I don't know how many weeks. I was past 21 weeks by that, way past, I believe. Yeah. I was way past 21 weeks. Now, at that time, I was doing my master's, and I didn't know what to do. I really did not know what to do. And at that time, even now, it was so many things went through my mind, because my parents were just as like, oh my God, they'll kill me even if I'm so far away. And the disappointment they're going to have, and the shame and the embarrassment, and I'm the only girl, and I'm not married, and all the things. And I was contemplating, should I stay in the US? What the heck should I do? And remember what I'm telling you, I wasn't walking with the Lord correctly. However, at this time, I had a few friends of mine. Some were like, come stay with me in a different state. We'll look after you, have the baby. We'll figure it out. You'll be able to go to school. We'll figure it out. Daycare, working. I was still in school, guys. So, and I was just like, nah, this is a lot. I'm going to go back home. I really didn't want to come back home, but I was like, I can't manage this here. Yeah. And so I came back home. And before I came back home, I remember telling God, I was like, now, Lord, there's a baby. Yes. And this baby has to be a girl. I don't know why I wanted a girl. Don't ask me. I just decided the baby was going to be a girl. So before I left the US, I decided, because now I had to pack all my stuff. Some of it I had to ship. I had been there for like, 4 or 5 years? I don't know. I'd been there for quite some time. So I had stuff. I even left stuff for my poor roommate Joanne to sort out for me. I had stuff, guys. And I didn't have time because, yeah, I think I traveled 6 months pregnant. When I got back to Kenya, I must have been 6 going to 7. Like, but you couldn't see. So, anywho, I remember telling God, not asking, telling him, I'm like, now this baby has to be a girl. And I don't know why I didn't want a boy. I didn't want a boy. So I went shopping and shout out to La Jolla. I went shopping. Yani, I shopped, guys. I shopped for this child and I only bought girl things. When I say girl things, there was nothing. I had one blue and red outfit. One. But it was very girly, but it could pass for a small baby boy. But yeah, it was very girly. Everything else was pink, green, yellow, purple. You know those clothes where you without a shadow of a doubt, there is no boyness here. I bought from whether it was a bib, whether it was whatever, from 0 years to sijui how many months, 1 year to everything girl. And it was a lot of shopping because I was just like, if you become a boy, you will wear all these clothes until they run out. And I was so serious. So when I came home, my mom was so ticked off with me. Now, it was a situation because I came home. They are, of course, very disappointed. Now I've come home. You know, when you're far, and you have a baby, who cares? But when you're here, that's a different thing. So I came home. The tummy is tumming. The baby is like showing itself now. And my mom is going through the stuff because she's like, we need to go shopping. And I'm like, no, I don't need to go shopping. I shopped before I came. And she's like, no, let me see what you've got. You know, rompers, these inner things, the vesti, nini. Kuna vitu zingine you have to buy there Biashara Street. But most of the things I had bought. Even the small little blankies, the small little bed sheets, the only things I needed was the basket. Some of you don't know what a basket is. There's like a basket we used to carry around. The babies even put it in the car. Kuna kasi, tunaweka basket tu, shui, unaenda na mtoto. Okay, for those of you that French is that there's a basket that we carry. I don't know if the baskets are there right now. And yeah, so my mom was going through all the things and she's like, why are all these colors so girly? Is the baby a girl? And I'm like, no, I don't know. She's like, what do you mean? I said, me, every time I go for these clinic things before, the baby doesn't show what the baby is. The baby hides. So when I got my OBGYN here in Nairobi, I kid you not. Hey, Wabs, you are such a cheeky baby. We only saw Wabs' back and her bum bums. That's it. So the sex of the baby was unknown. I had decided with God, it's a girl. So my mom was like, no, we have to go buy a few things, at least blue something. What if the baby is a boy? And I'm like, hey, it can't be a boy. And she's like, I said, because I've told God my baby. And she's looking at me like, you know, this child, this only daughter of mine now has come this way. And yeah, she had, I'm sometimes a bit stubborn in that way. I stick to it, And she's like, no, we have to go. And I'm like, Mom, even if you buy those things, I will put them aside. The baby is a girl. And I'm not going to let anybody dissuade me. And I remember she sent one of my aunties, one of my favorite aunties, those aunties who you can listen to. And my auntie was like, oh, just in case, we don't want you to be so disappointed, it can break your heart. Me, I'm like, if it's a boy, he will wear. I am so serious. And I'm like, I have already spoken to God. I don't understand why everybody's on my case. Leave me alone with the child. The child will be a girl. And then they sent my brother, I think. I was just not having it. And guess what, guys? Early one morning, I had to go to the hospital. And I had my baby. And the first question, after I said, where's my baby? They were like, oh, I had a few complications here and there. And I'm like, what is the baby a girl? And I was told, yes, the baby is a girl. And I was like, thank you, Lord Jesus. See, all you people here trying to spoil my faith, And the funniest thing, when I was now also wanting to have my son, I remember I was like, Lord, Again, this I wasn't still with the Lord proper. I used to go to church, but this time round, I was like, Lord, I have a girl, so now I want a boy. And let me just put it in one video. Melvin was a boy child that I named 2 years before he was born. So I used to just talk about Melvin. Like when I tell you about faith, okay, I'm a bit delusional on faith. I'm not saying be delusional like me, but I am kidding you not. Those who know, they know. Melvin, I told my daughter she was going to be 7. She was 5 at the time. And I said, Wabs, when you're 7, you will have a brother. His name is Melvin. And I need you to be able to be a good big sister and all the things. Okay, so at 5 years old, Wabs is all in with me. And so with Wabs, it was so easy because I used to talk about Melvin all the time. I say, oh, when Melvin is here, and people would ask me, who is Melvin? I say, Melvin is my son. And they'll be like, where is he? I say, no, he's coming. And they'll be like, my mom used to say, stop this thing. And I'm like, leave me alone. And I didn't know, really, guys. I just used to talk about Melvin. Melvin this, Melvin that. Oh, this would look nice on Melvin. Oh, learn Melvin. And guess what? When I found out I was pregnant, again, no morning sickness. I think I was 3 months in also. And that time I had a flu. I just felt I had a flu. I went home and I was like, this flu, it's not going away. This flu is not going. I went to the hospital. I was told I'm 3 months, yeah? And I'm like, okay, now with Melvin, I was like, no, we really need to get confirmation because this Wabs was very naughty. And Melvin, we got confirmation very early that, no, did we get with Melvin? I think we did. And so I was just very happy because, again, I did not buy any girl clothes. I was not entertaining any thought or anything about a girl because Melvin was a 2-year-old baby before he came, because I had been talking about him. I had been saying stuff about him. I had been talking like he was already there, and it used to drive my brother, my mother, and everybody else crazy. And I was like, you know what, this is my life, this is why I'm gonna do it, because at that time I just knew that I didn't know about declarations or whatever, just being focused on this is what it is and in agreement. Now I am just grateful God honored my desires of my heart. But I look at it also in a way of faith, At that time, and even now, it was very hard for me to allow anybody to remove me from faith, what I believed in. Okay, it wasn't really sound doctrine. I'm not giving you doctrine here. I'm just giving you my life and how I started walking with the Lord even before. And I didn't realize that God was just teaching me, and the power of spoken word and the power of believing and aligning in the word of God and then speaking it back to him. So I hope this has been a bit educational, entertaining, but most importantly, uplifting in your faith. And please, once again, share your faith walk, share what you've done, if anything. And I think I'll do one more just to, encourage you in faith. So this is Rooted Word. Until the next one, I say thank you. Bye-bye.